Good afternoon. Today is September 20th, 2023. This is the zoning administrator hearing. Today's hearing, just so anybody that's not familiar with the process, is this kind of resembles and emulates what we do for city council and for planning commission. So with that, the first action item is that there are zoning administrator meeting minutes from last meeting, which was on 9/6/23. Those just have to be published as a part of the legislative history. And so those are moved and approved as presented, since my staff is the one that drafts those. So now we're going to move into the public hearing component of the of today's meeting. So with that, we do have two items. Those will go concurrently back to back. And from there, just so that everyone understands, is I will have staff give a high level overview of what the specific project is. If there is a project applicant or their architect or engineer, whomever is here representing the project itself, if they want to speak to anything before the night open for any potential public testimony from who's present in the chambers, we will do that. And then if I have any clarifying questions of the applicant or staff, I will then ask it again at that time. And then I will make my decision to approve, deny, or continue the item. So with that, we are going to get started with the first item that's on the agenda, which is for a design review permit request at 226 Solana Drive. And the project planner is Naz Healy, so she's going to give us a little bit of an overview.
So this project is for a new approximately 4,100 square foot two-story home. It meets the R110 development standards and is consistent with the design guidelines, and it's also compatible with the neighborhood. One email was received earlier this week from a neighbor in supporting the project. And so with that, staff recommends finding the project exempt from CEQA and approving the project as proposed.
So like I said, that's just the high level overview. So since this is essentially like a zoning administrator administrative hearing, like some other jurisdictions do, I've already seen these plans internally as they've been reviewed for consistency and compatibility with our code. So with that, I don't have any questions of staff. Is there someone that's representing the project that has anything that they'd specifically like to kind of address that potentially is something that is beyond just out of the normal?
Yeah, I'm the project architect. Do I need to get up? Or? Okay.
You don't have to, just if you can speak clearly enough.
Great. Yeah, these are my clients, Anna and Roberto. And I think they have some family members here too. Yeah. Yeah, we had a really good experience doing kind of outreach to the neighbors, and Anna and Roberto basically led that effort. We did make some design changes in response to some of those conversations, which I think we've made the city aware of, but they basically spoke to privacy from our second floor. Particularly, we have a balcony on the master bedroom. And so we added a privacy screen to address one neighbor's concern. We are showing 15-foot tall landscaping along the rear property line to address another neighbor's concern. I think apart from those two neighbors, if I'm not mistaken, everyone else seemed generally fine with the project. And so we're hoping that there are no surprises here today, because it's been good so far. And we're hopeful we can get this project approved today and do a home that fits nicely into this really nice neighborhood.
Okay. So with that, is there anybody that is present that would like to make a comment from the public on 226 Solana Drive? No? Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Someone online? Okay. And then Bruce, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and provide whatever public comment you have. Bruce, if you can hear us, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I think that's working now.
Yep,
I was
it
gonna
is.
say, my name is Bruce Busby. I live at 258 Solana Drive. We've looked at the drawings, the architectural drawings. We like them very much. Having just got back from Scottsdale and visited Talius and West, it is very much a Frank Lloyd Wright sort of vibe, and we think that would fit in very, very nicely here. Anna and Roberto are just wonderful folks, and we look forward to having them in the neighborhood, and we look forward to that structure.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there anybody else online, Stephanie?
No, there is no one else wishing.
And then last chance for anybody that's in the chambers. Okay. So I usually don't kind of give like the editorial comments, but since the architects kind of articulated something that's really good, and this is something that we convey to applicants now in the zoning administrator kind of process, is I appreciate what you have articulated and provided us as kind of the community engagement almost that you have done for this single family home redevelopment project is what we would consider this. And so it is the neighborly thing to do. That there's things that are not in our code that sometimes the neighbors and community expect us to try and enforce, but the state laws have changed drastically for anything that's considered housing, where we can't do arbitrary and capricious decision-making on housing projects. So when it is people that know that there's a potential slight modification or remedy for a neighbor to neighbor kind of potential privacy concern or issue, it's great that you're going to end up living next to each other anyway. So you might as well somewhat address some of the issues so that you don't hate who you're living next to for the rest of your life. So with that, I kind of just want to somewhat say thank you, because that is kind of what the whole basis of what we have been working with the community on, is talking about some of the minor things that do not mean that they're architecturally significant changes to an actual structure, like sometimes people are requesting, rather things such as screening. Big comment that we usually get is the privacy concern with people with their windows. I don't know, I've never lived in a home where I've never had a set of blinds on a window. So you know, obviously I assume that a home of this size would be doing some window treatment. So thank you for doing everything that you guys did in regards to engaging and working with your immediate neighbors who would be essentially the most greatly affected if there was an effect to actually be concerned with. So with that, the design review permit for 226 Solana Drive is approved as presented today. And then the staff planner will work on a formal approval letter and get that to you guys so that you guys know what you're able to, have for your own records. And then you guys can move forward into submission and or submittal into building plan check. Okay. All right, great. Thank you, everyone. So with that, we're going to go to the second public hearing item, which is for another design review application, also presented by Naz Feely at 746 Casa Bonita Court.
Okay, so this item is a new approximately 3,200 square foot, 2-story home with a basement. It meets the R1 development standards and is with the design guidelines by minimizing bulk the impacts. There was a condition of approval included to update the arborist report to confirm that the proposed retaining wall replacement in the rear yard would not impact a large redwood tree that's located on the neighbor's property in the rear. It was not clear in the report whether that retaining wall was reviewed. So that's just, again, a condition of approval to update the arborist report. So with that, staff recommends finding the project exempt from CEQA and approving the project as proposed.
Okay, thank you. I do not have any questions for staff. So again, just like the last time, is there anything that is an addition that the project applicant has that they'd like to provide me before I take public comment, if there is any?
So, yeah, Namrata and Sukumar, we are the owners, and Jim here is our architect, who's worked on our beautiful home. And thank you for seeing us today. And we have our neighbors, Miss Joyce and Ken here. I think we did our community read starting from January. We reached out all the neighbors, and they were really helpful and okay with our design. Ken and Joyce here did have some questions, especially concerning windows. I think I had reached out to Naz regarding the same, and we did tell them, and I want to just follow up with that we decided that we are going to screen the lower half of the windows, and the boys' bedrooms will be frosted. And other than that, there is a new home that is coming up on our diagonal rear side. So we are going to do some screening of trees as per our landscape. So yeah, but we are open to questions.
I don't have any questions. Again, this is obviously a little bit streamlined of a process just because staff works on this, obviously between the deputy director and then myself in order to get it to this point. So with that, is there any public comments that anybody in the chambers would like to make? Any of the three of you have public comments?
Only comment I made, I can't hear what anybody say.
Do you have any comments for me though? No. Okay. All right, sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, there's nothing, just, there's not been anything on the screen. It's just doing the video recording for people that aren't present in the chambers. So nothing, you're not missing anything on the screen. And
when I couldn't hear what was on the screen.
yeah, so sorry about that. So Naz just gave a high level overview of what the project is actually. So essentially the square footage and the project description. Because we already look at a lot of these plans, obviously internally before it gets to this point. And then make sure that we kind of take whatever potential feedback is from the community that we might not have been able to address or assess in our process. So Stephanie, is there anybody online that has comments?
Yes.
No. Okay. So with that is that there is no public comments in this item has already been reviewed essentially internally for consistency, and there is no required changes beyond the conditions of approval that are already been presented to the property owner and applicant. So with that, the design review permit at 746 Casa Bonita Court is approved as presented today. Staff will work on an approval letter and provide that to you all so that you can then move forward and have that for your documents. And then you can move forward into submitting into building plan check, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys. All right. So with that, there is no other items on today's agenda. On the administrator hearing, and this concludes today's meeting. Thank you.